Michael Richards stated in the Inside Look for the statue that he feels that this episode was kind of like a turning point for the Kramer character, um, because it felt like, and I kind of agree. Up until this point, Kramer wasn't really involved in many like main storylines so far. He still felt like he was more of like a background character in some ways or whatnot. I mean, he had his like little spurts of moments, but this is like the first one where like he really like he had like a bigger. It's probably his biggest moment in the series so far, um, which was the scene, of course, where he posed as a cop to get back the statue that Jerry believed that was stolen by Ray. Um, but the main story behind the statue was well, there's two, not like a main one, but there was like two like stories that was like tied together. Elaine was working with a very successful writer, uh, and with this big client, it could have led to her getting a big promotion at Pendant Publishing. Um, Jerry was also had well, Jerry was looking for someone to clean his apartment, and the lady who Elaine was working with, her name was Rava. I think from Finland. Her boyfriend Ray was a grad student, and he was going to be cleaning Jerry's apartment. As he does cleaning for for a job while he's in college, um, and he did a very very excellent job. But at the beginning of this episode, there's this old box of Jerry's grandfather's stuff, his recently deceased grandfather, he brought into his apartment to go through. And Kramer and George going through it, taking some stuff. Well, George found this statue, that the exact same statue that was in his parents' apartment, his parents' house. Since he was, and when he was 10 years old, he broke it because he was using it as a microphone, and while he was singing a song, he dropped it and broke it, and basically his parents never let him hear the end of it. Of course, at this time, you've never seen Estelle or Frank Costanza, so you really don't understand, with how obnoxious they were, how ridiculous really it sounded. So George wanted that statue. Him and Kramer were fighting over the statue, but George wanted it so that way he could, make it up with his parents. After a little like Inka Binka Dink or whatever the heck it was called, George got the statue. Kramer then took an old coat and an old hat of Jerry's grandfather's, and he put it on. And he says he feels like Joe Friday from Dragnet, which there was numerous references to Dragnet in this episode. Well, whenever Ray came to clean afterwards, when Jerry and Elaine were over at Rava and Ray's apartment, I guess Jerry noticed that statue was in his apartment, and it was missing from Jerry's. So they, didn't really want to, in the nicest way possible, get that statue back. But obviously they had to get ready to admit that he took the statue. But also, they didn't want to get in the way of Elaine and Rava's partnership. And again, this is a big opportunity for Elaine to get a big promotion. But Jerry calls Ray, and Ray meets him at a coffee shop, and George just poses as another guest in the shop. Well, Ray claims that he didn't steal the statue. He claims that he's had that statue for a while. He bought it at a pawn shop in Singapore. But he claims that the shop had closed, but he said maybe find a receipt or something. But George just snaps at him and calls him a thief and whatnot. And then I guess the next day or so, Rava and Elaine were going up the elevator. And at first they were cool. It's like, what happened with Ray and the boys is not getting in the way of them. But as they're going up the elevator and the doors open on each floor, they're arguing more and more. At the same time, Rava, who smoked, the people in the elevator complaining, telling her to put the cigarette out. Finally, by the time they get to the top floor, Rava and Elaine basically have separate ways. They hate each other, and Elaine just slam dunks the manuscript into the janitor's garbage bin. And Elaine was upset because of that argument, she basically went from proofreading a big novel to then proofreading a food disease cookbook or something like that. And of course, George's parents took the news that the statue is not going to be there as disappointment very, very harshly. Kramer, though, was just kept sitting there going, I don't like it. And he kept saying, let me go get him. And then, obviously they just left with it. But then, this is the scene, of course, where Michael Richards was saying he felt that the Kramer character came alive. Kramer put on that hat and coat from Jerry's grandfather's box and went to the apartment and posed as a cop. And he was really into the part, and then he surprised them with the statue, and then they're all excited. But then Kramer pats George on the back, but off the impact of that, the statue just flies out of George's hands and breaks. So either way, the statue did not get to George's parents, and that just sucks. That's that episode. Like I said, there was a lot of reference to Dragnet in this episode. And there was also, as Julia Louis-Dreyfus said in the Inside Look, really the Inside Look didn't have much, other than Kramer's, Michael Richards saying how he felt this is the episode where the Kramer character came alive, and basically said what we did there, we got to keep doing it and moving forward. Of course, season 3, I feel they started to insert more, well, actually there's more so in The Revenge. I think it's 2 episodes away, because we only have 3 episodes left of season 2, which is The Heart Attack, The Revenge, and The Deal. In The Revenge, they start introducing a little more of Michael Richards adding the physical comedy to the Kramer character, which in fact was what even helped the character come more alive. But yeah, the other 2 things I was gonna say in the Inside Look. There's a line in this episode, I guess, that became of course, there were several, lines that, I referenced my dad a lot, but that the 4 of them would reference a lot, and one of them was from this episode. There's a scene where Rava says, when Ray walks in, and she goes, I smoke a cigarette, she goes, there's Ray, late as usual. And I guess they used to say that on set a lot. And also, the lady who played Rava apparently dated one of the backstage personnels, or one of a good friend of Jerry's. She used to date him, and then I guess Jerry signed. The guy's name was Richard Lewis, but I guess Jerry basically sided with Richard Lewis over the breakup. And then I guess her and Jerry got into a little bit of a spat, and I think he says some type of nice zinger to shut her up or something like that. But interesting nod there. But yeah, there's the. Oh, I'm sorry, I got yelled at there. There's the day, late as usual. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the statue. We have 3 episodes left of season 2, guys. Again, The Heart Attack, The Revenge, and The Deal. In my mind, 3 pretty good episodes. I look forward to watching those again and talking about them. So I'll see you then, guys. Again, we have 3 left till we get to season 3. So what are your thoughts also, guys, on the statue? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content on my channel. And follow me on Twitter at DemandAirborne93. So then, guys, I'll catch y'all later. And one more time, we also remind you, there's a day, late as usual.